Morning, everyone. Gary here. Welcome to the podcast. It is what time is it? It's 5:48 a.m. and it is the 5th of October, 2024, Saturday morning. All right, I woke up this morning. It was raining. It was the rain that woke me up. So I'm speaking a little slower than I would normally because, after all, this podcast is about teaching you English. I'm in Colombia. I live in Tolima, in a small town in Tolima. Been here, this is my 15th year. I'm married to Lucia, Colombiana, should I say. And we live here together with 3 dogs and Lucia's mother and father. I have to say at this point that my special guests on this podcast are always my dogs. You'll hear them, they'll announce themselves shortly, they'll be awake shortly, barking, waking up the neighborhood. Anyway, right, I woke up this morning. The rain was coming down very heavily. Sorry, time for coffee. That probably sounds horrible on a podcast. And immediately, when I see heavy rain, I think cats and dogs, which you may or may not have heard that before. Cats and dogs. Most sayings, most idioms in English, most phrasal verbs, they have their origins somewhere, obviously, and people dispute the origins. But I heard cats and dogs originated back in medieval times, centuries ago, when we all lived in houses where the roof was made from thatch. Now, thatch is just straw, sticks, and mud. So the roof was made from this material, and usually it was the warmest part of the house. So small creatures, dogs, cats, among other animals, I suppose, made themselves at home in the thatch. When we say made themselves at home, we mean made themselves comfortable. Obviously, when it rained heavily, this material, this thatch, collapsed, and the dogs and the cats, so the saying goes, so people say, so the saying goes, the dogs and the cats fell through the roof onto the inhabitants, hence means therefore. The dogs and the cats fell on the people sleeping in the house, fell on the people in the house. So it's raining cats and dogs. Quite common. We say this a lot. I hear it a lot, especially in London. It's raining cats and dogs. It's raining heavily. This morning, I woke up. It was the rain that woke me up, and the first thing I remember on waking is, first thing that went through my mind, it's raining cats and dogs. So now you know. Right, to bite the bullet. We often say this, bite the bullet. The meaning of this is to accept something difficult or unpleasant. It's to it's to do something that isn't very nice, something unpleasant. For instance, you'll need to bite the bullet and call the doctor. So you've been feeling a little sick, there's something wrong with you, you can't quite put your finger on it, which means you can't quite work it out, you don't really know why you feel this way, but something's not quite right. You're going to need to bite the bullet and call the doctor. It's not very nice, but you're going to need to do it. Bite the bullet. Bite the bullet and call your friend and apologize. You've been fighting with your friend. Bite the bullet. Apologize. Apparently, this comes from a time when doctors were short on anesthesia. During a battle, they would ask a patient to bite down on a bullet to distract from the pain. I don't know whether that's true, but if it helps you remember this. A little bit like, I suppose, when people put something in your mouth to bite down on now it's not to alleviate the pain, it's not to make the pain any better, it's to distract from the pain. So to bite the bullet is a way of saying, look, get on with it. I know it's not very nice, but you need to do it. Bite the bullet. Call your friend. Apologize. To break the ice. I'm just looking at a meaning here of this, a definition of to break the ice. And it's nonsense. Literally, I'm reading what I thought would be a good reference page to tell you what it means to break the ice. Now, to break the ice is to make small talk. Break the ice. How are you today? I say to my students, I say, how's the weather in Bogota? And invariably they say it's cold or it's raining again. How's the traffic? Terrible, blah, blah, blah. Just breaking the ice, just small talk. So here it says meaning, break the ice, meaning to break off a conflict or commence. What a load of nonsense. To break off a conflict. Unbelievable. These are the things that you guys must read and think, how am I ever going to learn English? To break the ice is when we make small talk. How are you today? Did you have a nice flight? How was your day at work? Whatever. That's what breaking the ice means, to start a conversation. Apparently, this goes back to when transportation wasn't developed before the Industrial Revolution. No, not before the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, before the Industrial Revolution, ships would be the only transportation, the only means of trade. And ships would get stuck during the winter because of ice formation. So the receiving country, the importing country, if you like, would send small ships to break the ice, to clear a way for the trade ships. And this gesture showed affiliation, understanding between two countries. Makes sense, I suppose. I don't know whether that's the origin of the saying, but it certainly doesn't mean to break off a conflict or commence a friendship. I don't know. Anyway, to break the ice. We use it in meetings. Can someone break the ice? Well, we don't actually say that. We use it in meetings. Break the ice, start talking. Break the ice. How's your wife? How's your family? How's the weather? How's the traffic in Bogota? How's the traffic today? I know the answer, by the way, before I ask the question. But that's to break the ice, to make small talk. To butter someone up. Yeah, we used to use this. We still do use it in England. I remember using it as a child. I would ask something from my father, and my mother would butter him up, try to persuade him, usually with flattery. So it was apparently, I don't know whether this is true, it was a religious act, a customary religious act in ancient India. The devout would throw butter balls, mantequilla, butter, at the statues of their gods to seek favor and forgiveness. No idea whether that's true. I'm reading it on the net. Who knows? But anyway, to butter someone up is to try and impress them with flattery. You're looking really nice today, blah, blah, blah. You're buttering them up. You're complimenting them. And as I say, we use that. We used it in England when I was growing up. We still use it now. I still hear it now. Butter him up. Compliment him. He's in a bad mood. Go and butter him up. Butter him up. Mad as a hatter. If you're as mad as a hatter, you're crazy. The word mad gives that away, I suppose. It's in Alice in Wonderland. Lewis Carroll, the author, Alice in Wonderland. I don't know whether this is where it originates from. Some places say it does, some doesn't. Some say it doesn't originate from here, but apparently we used it in the 17th and 18th centuries, long before Alice in Wonderland was published. So poisoning I'm just reading this. I know as much about this as you guys do. So, poisoning occurred among makers who used mercury for the hat felt, the material in the hat. The Mad Hatter disease was marked by shyness, irritability, and tremors, shakes that would make the person appear mad. No idea whether that's true, but we use it. He's as mad as a hatter. Apparently, it originated amongst hat makers in 17th century France. Who knows? I don't know. But mad as a hatter, he's completely crazy. He's as mad as a hatter. Cat got your tongue. We use that. Yes, I hear that a lot. It's when someone is at a loss for words. It says here, ask to a person who is at loss of words. Nonsense. It means at a loss for words. Now, this goes back to the English Navy, and they used to use a whip. This is true, and I can verify this. Not because I've had this whip used on me or anything, but I'm quite interested in old ships and things like that. Yeah, I really am that boring. So we used something called a whip called a cat or nine tails, a cat o' nine tails, a cat with nine tails. It was a whip that had various, well, nine things hanging off it, if you like, 9 knots, 9 pieces of rope for flogging. Flogging is another word for beating or whipping. It says here, I don't know whether this is true, but the pain was so severe that it caused the victim to stay quiet for a long time. Yeah, well, basically, that cat got your tongue means, don't you have anything to say? Are you going to answer me? Why are you silent on this? Cat got your tongue? It's often used, after a difficult question is asked. We say to children, did you eat that chocolate? They don't say anything. What's up? Cat got your tongue? Apparently, it originates back to this use of cat o' nine tails when the victim was quiet for a long time afterwards. I don't know whether that part's true, but there was definitely a thing called the cat o' nine tails. Cat got your tongue. Why aren't you answering me? Why are you silent? Barking up the wrong tree. We use this, yep. It's when you are misinformed or misguided, you are barking up the wrong tree. Now, I explain this to students. We talk about dogs chasing cats up trees. The cat has long since left the tree. It's run across the roofs, it's run to another tree, jumped to another tree, and the dog is still barking up the same tree. You're looking at something that isn't relevant. Hunting dogs chasing prey up a tree. The dogs bark. They assume that the prey is still in the tree, and the prey is no longer there. So you'll see it in movies, on Netflix. The detective says you're barking up the wrong tree. You're looking at the wrong things here. This is not relevant. Barking up the wrong tree. Turn a blind eye. Yep, we use this. Okay, what's it say here? It says the British naval hero, Admiral Horatio Nelson, had one blind eye. He certainly did. Once, when the British forces signaled for him to stop attacking a fleet of Danish ships, he held up a telescope to his blind eye and said, I do not see the signal. He attacked, nevertheless, and was victorious. I don't know whether that's true, but to turn a blind eye means to ignore something, to ignore reality, really. To turn a blind eye. Ignore something. Turn a blind eye to it. Bury the hatchet. We use this. Yeah, it's to stop a conflict, to make peace. Bury the hatchet. Apparently, it dates back to early times in North America when the Puritans were in conflict with the Native Americans. When negotiating peace, the Native Americans would bury all their hatchets. A hatchet is like an axe, and their weapons in general. So literally, weapons were buried and made inaccessible. Sounds true. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe that is where it dates back to. But it certainly means to stop a conflict, to make peace. A little bit like bite the bullets, call your friend, apologize, bury the hatchet. Come on, bury the hatchet. Stop fighting. To be caught red-handed. We use this a lot, yeah. It's when you are caught in the act of doing something wrong. Okay, it says here origin. This originates from an old English law that ordered any person to be punished for butchering an animal, cutting up an animal that wasn't his own. A butcher is, I don't know, carniceria is a butcher's shop. The only way the person could be convicted was if he was caught with the animal's blood still on his hands. I don't know about that. But anyway, it means to be caught in the act of doing something wrong. You're caught red-handed. You're literally caught stealing the money. Somebody sees you actually doing it. You were caught red-handed. Give a cold shoulder. Yeah, it's when you're really unwelcoming, when you're antisocial towards someone, you ignore someone, you give them the cold shoulder. So if there's somebody that you really don't like or they've done something wrong, you don't talk to them, you turn away from them, you give them the cold shoulder. Says here the first recorded use of this phrase dates back to the early 1800s. It refers to an old custom of giving an unwelcome guest a cold piece of meat from the shoulder of mutton, pork, or beef, as opposed to a welcome guest who got a warm serving. A warm serving. I don't know. This was a polite way to communicate. You may leave now. You're not welcome here. To give a cold shoulder. It means to ignore somebody, to turn away from them. They're not welcome. Give them the cold shoulder. To go the whole 9 yards. To try your best at something. Yeah, it does. That's what it means. It does mean to go the whole 9 yards. Do your best. It says here, during World War II, the fighter pilots were given 9 yards. A yard is like a meter, more or less, of ammunition. When they ran out, it meant that they had tried their best at fighting using this allocation of ammunition. I don't know whether that's true. But we do say it's more of a saying that we hear in the US. No. I suppose no. We do. It's on TV. I do hear it. Go the whole 9 yards. Try your best. Do your best. Give it some effort. Go the whole 9 yards. To let your hair down. Hair. I remember that. Okay, to let your hair down. To relax. To be at ease. Let your hair down. Relax. The origin says here. I don't know whether these things are true. I just read the internet like everybody else, but. In public, the aristocratic women of medieval times were obliged. It means they had to, they were obliged, they were obligated. It says here, in public, the aristocratic women of medieval times were obliged to appear in elegant hairdos. A hairdo is a style of hair that were usually piled up above their heads, I suppose. The only time they would let this down was when they came home and relaxed. Seems to make sense. I don't know. Let their hair down when they came home and relaxed. That's certainly what it means. Let your hair down. Relax. Take it easy. You're home now. Let your hair down. And there's one more here. There's one more here. To rub the wrong way. To bother or annoy somebody. Yeah, that's true. That's how we use it. Don't rub him the wrong way. Sounds disgusting, but anyway. Don't rub your father the wrong way. I remember that from when I was a young boy. It says early Americans during colonial times would ask their servants to rub their oak floorboards the right way. So they were cleaning, the servants were cleaning the floor. Rub it the right way. The wrong way, not wiping them with dry fabric after wet whatever, would cause streaks, lines to form and ruin the floor, leaving the homeowner annoyed. Alternatively, it could have came from rubbing a cat's fur the wrong way, which annoys them. Well, that's certainly true. If you do stroke a cat the wrong way, they don't like it. Anyway, to rub someone the wrong way is to annoy them, to bother them. And that's it. So apparently that's the origins of a few phrasal verbs. We certainly use them. Whether they are true or not, I have no idea. And right now, I'm going to make some coffee. Okay, thanks for listening. See you soon. Bye-bye for now.